there's a mirror involved in this arrangement. This is another of the endless devices that I sort of have thrown out about still life. The use of a mirror, and you will have you could take a look, walk around, look at them all, see what it is. It destroys, it brings in the ambiguity of the visual field, a phrase I wanted to use.
It confuses the space and the plane.
And that's what I want. Confusing the space and the plane, and you are denied your conventional landscape feeling of there's a horizon, there's this, whatever. If there happens to be water, and we had been talking about this because we might have been out of the marina, you get these reflected things which become another little way of telling about what you're seeing. So, okay, but when you get this, and you could just look at this one, but they're all of the setups, everything is relevant. You have the object and its reflected thing. And not only is everything relevant, everything becomes a new information carrier. The reflection of the cherry lined up right beneath it tells you about the cherry that's sitting on top. But it also is a little backup. Wait up. And that's what I want. Yeah.
You sort of have to be in a certain position where you actually see it.
Right. You're gonna, when you look at these, take a, move yourself around. Don't immediately say, wait a minute, if I'm sitting here, I'm really not seeing, this doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense in a way, because it's contrived. Realize that a strange position may be the most interesting. And then the leap, you're doing a little leap of faith. Everything is relevant, everything's part of a floating world. Reflections are as real as the objects themselves. You can make this so fanciful, it could be so precise and clean. It can be whatever suits your style. It's just a little head shaker of it. I wrote down 3 quotes because I got them out of Harriet Shore's book, which I've had option here, of which I have 3 copies of paintings of hers. This one I put because of last week. There we were in the weeds. Here she's in the weeds. I didn't thought to put that out last week. Painting is either combining vertical or scattering horizontal. I think that's a very interesting argument. But think about that, and scattering or combining. Then a wonderful quote I've always loved: just as in music a basic silence is necessary so that the notes will stand out against it. And that's Italo Calvino.
Yeah.
And she says, the tabletop became the world. It was a way of making an abstract painting without giving up the pleasure and necessity of looking at objects and spaces. And you can sort of combine that with this mirror thing. This is an example of ramifications of the tabletop. Conventional, historic, Susan Abbott, different versions of ways of using the tabletop and expanding it. 2 seconds with what I want to say here is, and then some people wanted to work on this one, which is just fine. I started with laying down a few things in here. Obviously, at a certain point, even though I keep saying you're thinking about shape, 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 and this is another way of thinking even more about shape and color, you still, it's hard to just erase, and she makes that point too, the the object, the teacup, the whatever. But because of this duplication and this flip thing that you're getting, I think it promotes looking at this as color things that you just are putting down and building out. So very swiftly here, I'm going to just do a little
Use
bit.
your brush, not your pencil.
I know. I was having a lot of fun putting in the stems with, and I'll show you what I did. Wow. I'm just doing a very general thing here.
Is that palette mud?
Palette mud with a little bit of cerulean added. All this talk about palettes, which was a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
Very
Got
much,
that
thanks,
going.
Beth.
Yes.
I just was so impressed with how much an observant everybody is. The picking up on these things that go on in different, every artist. By having the slightly weird, distorted, because of the reflections, which is not only a distortion, it's also a new organization because it gives you a repeat. So we're often looking for repeats in any kind of painting, saying, oh my, the orange of the tomato comes here and then there's a stripe or whatever, you try to connect these things. This is doing it double time for you, which I think is a kind of a fun motif. And then,
Think shape.
and there's this, and so, and then you move from one thing to another.
Yes, I
Nothing
don't do
really
that.
new. It can grow out from a center kind of thing. The thing, which it hasn't achieved yet, the thing that's quite wonderful and fun is all of a sudden when you do this, it's going to just come together. And you're going to say, oh my God, look at that. That is exactly, now I see how those cherries are. Now I see the reflection of the thing. But basically, you want to get at that by not talking about it in your head. You want to go by
Just shapes and colors.
by saying, okay, there's a yellow thing here. How could you not say it's a cherry? And just sort of drip, 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 move around, and then all of a sudden it comes together.